Hello, my name is Djaka Blais-Amare with the Calgary Foundation, and welcome to our one-on-one. She, her, hers. I'm a settler in Mohkinstsis, the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, as well as the Iahe Nakota Nation, the Tsuut'ina Nation, and the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. Grant making and racial justice. Lattes. Emails. I have two, singer-songwriter Lynn Olagundoye and Tanya Tagak as an author and singer. I absolutely need my phone so that I can play some music and podcasts. I can't conceive the future of philanthropy without prioritizing decolonization, racial justice, and environmental sustainability. The future of philanthropy in Canada will be dictated by generations that have much different interests than ours. We're looking to have a more diverse population by 2036, with 1 in 2 people being an immigrant or second generation, and our Indigenous population is the fastest growing and youngest in Canada. Philanthropy can do better by, first of all, strengthening our relationships with Indigenous communities and doing some self-analysis in power and oppression, racial justice, and social equity, as well as implicit bias. Grantmakers should remember that we all have bias and that our identities affect our decisions because we come to our work with our individual worldviews. I'm hopeful for the next generation of Canadian philanthropy because we are having difficult conversations and entering in the discomfort needed to evolve. Disruption, transformation, and spotlighting. I selected disruption because our world is forever changed. Even if we think we can go back to the way things were, we're realizing that our reality is now a new normal and we need to do things differently. Transformation, we have been forced to transform how we do our work and how we live in order to meet the needs of our new reality. And spotlighting, someone referred to COVID-19 as the great revealer. It shone a light on the gaps in our different social systems. My 3 words are imagination, transformation, and opportunity. Community is demanding that each organization and institution take a hard look in the mirror and use some imagination to transform how we do our work and what we stand for. The current system leaves too many people behind, especially Black, Indigenous communities, which has been magnified by COVID-19. We need to pay attention to the root causes and make changes accordingly. These issues are not new. The recommendations and strategies are not new. What is new is the increased awareness and willingness to act so quickly. My word is hopeful. I really feel hopeful based on the conversations that I've been having in the sphere of philanthropy and the difficult conversations that we're having in order to evolve into a society that will be there and be able to support everyone. Our sector's takeaway as funders has been that it's a lot easier to remove barriers than we had anticipated. And in particular, it's been a lot easier for funders to collaborate in the ways that we have been discussing for many, many years, but for some reason have been driven to do so because of COVID. Another takeaway is that grassroots initiatives really play a key role in supporting those sectors of the population that are falling through the gaps of our existing systems. Anti-oppression fits into my conception of philanthropy because as a funder, it's important to do some self-reflection on the power dynamics that are at play in our work and how our individual worldviews impact the decisions we make. We need to be aware of how we show up in our relationships with community and continuously ask what will be the impact on BIPOC communities of our existing policies and the decisions we make. We are on a continuous learning and improvement journey, and will be until we live in a racially equitable society where the distribution of resources, opportunities, and burdens are not determined or predictable by race. We need to be willing to learn, to do better, and to act in solidarity with community members that have been doing the work for several years. The intersection between climate action and philanthropy is critical. We all have a role to play in order to ensure our sustainable future. Foundations can do better by doing some more self-reflection and putting more power into the hands of our local communities. Philanthropy can support and empower Black Canadians by transferring resources into the hands of Black communities and Black-led organizations, giving them sustainable resources for self-determination. Diversity, equity, and inclusion can have long-term impacts in our sector when we look at every aspect of our organization, from governance to administration, human resources, volunteers, and grant making. If we focus purely on grant making, we can just as easily change those programs. So in order to have a sustainable impact, we need to be looking at all the different ways we impact community and our policies and practices. My thoughts as we enter the second wave of the pandemic is that we need to be planning for long term, and that we need to be taking an abundance mindset as opposed to a scarcity mindset. We need to ensure that we're working with community and responding to the needs that they are presenting, as opposed to predetermining what those needs will be. A structural change that needs to see the light of day is a return to the true definition of philanthropy, the love of humanity, and having our practices align with our values. A special word for our sector peers is to focus on some self-care and connecting with friends and family over the holidays. It's even more important given everything we're going through, trying to work and support community while going through a pandemic. And it can be easy to burn out if you don't take care of yourself. I found this rapid fire a little bit stressful, but actually fun. Thanks for coming to my one-on-one.